Now we will look at the mechanics of executing the tipping point and how to use tools and technology that are present now at low cost or no cost to expedite the process and to do so in an economic and effective manner. So for this conversation, we're going to look at the work being done for this organization. And this client who has not implemented this yet is considering this strategy, has a film, a documentary, and their intention and desire is to take the message that's embodied in their documentary and have it achieve a tipping point. The way we have advised this organization to do so is organized in these 4 segments. The first segment we'll talk about is at the bottom, called allies. So the organization would identify those people that are likely to be allies of the idea, people who will recommend and endorse the idea of the documentary. Those allies would take the form of different segments depending on the interests and the past history with these different segments. And so identifying these groups allows the organization to take limited resources and apply them thoughtfully in a sniper-like fashion to specific groups. The second aspect is looking at what's called influencers. And so these are influencers that have followings of their own and could spread the word of the documentary or the idea to their own channels. Let's now go to the group of people that are not allies, the general public that this organization has access to. So when the general public see the idea, there will be some that do not get engaged, some that disagree with the idea, and some that engage. The intention is to ignore these 2 groups during the tipping point phase and apply limited resources just with the people that are inherently engaged. Invariably, these are the early adopters. These are the followers. So with the early adopters, the work is done to find out what engaged them about the idea. It is a common trap for the idea generator who came up with the idea and is excited and passionate about the idea to think that others will like his or her idea for the same reasons that the author had. And that is a misstep. It is important to recognize that people have different experiences, backgrounds, fears, and aspirations and past, and all of those things alter what it is that they were triggered by about the idea and what it is that they got engaged by. Understanding that is important. Those that are engaged then are invited to form a team, and again, of the people that are invited, a small percentage of them will accept that invitation, most of them will not. The important aspect is to continue to apply limited resources only with the people that continue to remain engaged and ignore the people that are not. So when people are accepting the invitation to the teams are given actions to take. Those that take the actions are moved into a team captain role, and this will be the minority, and the people that don't take actions will be put into what we call a team member role. Another group, we call this the 3-person engine, is tasked with energizing and escalating and growing the number of people that opt into the team captain role. The way that is achieved in broad brushstrokes is by having at least 3 people in the 3-person engine, and the 3 people are composed of a specific personality type. The first one is what we call a director. This is the type of person who is at ease, giving directions, making decisions, and is not easily affected by the opinions of others. The second type of person is what we call an influencer or an inspirer. This type of person gets people into action, gets people moving, not by directing them, but by inspiring them. This person is more susceptible and influenced by other people's opinions. The third person in this team is what we call a C type. They're very conscientious, and the C conscientious person lacks the inherent leadership characteristics of the director or the inspirer, but this C conscientious person has a high affinity for details. They inherently are the types of people that will identify why an idea will not work, and then naturally drawn to paying attention to small details. Both and the director and the inspirer lack that characteristic of being detail oriented. So by combining these three people types, we have an effective three-person engine, and that three-person engine begins to work with the team leaders to expand their work. That is done by three things. One, making sure that these team leaders continue to take actions and lead their team members in taking those actions. These are highly localized small teams. There's also an escalation path, which means that as more actions are given and as people take those actions, those that actually take the actions are continually moved into a higher and higher role. It's this idea of going from maybe 5,000 people to 70 people to 12 people to 3 people. It's this idea that fulfills on the inherent need that most people have to be part of what we could term the inner circle. And the way they earn their privilege to be in the inner circle is by continuing to take actions and separate themselves from the crowd. The third aspect is what we call machine gun versus spears. So spears are very ornate, they're well crafted. You can achieve an objective with a spear, but each spear has to be made and launched individually. Machine gun, by contrast, is a system. In a way, a machine gun has many spears in it. The spears are much smaller, we call them bullets, but the machine gun is designed to systematically broadcast multiple bullets in quick succession. And the way we achieve this machine gun idea is through strategy and technology, much of which is low cost or no cost. And so with this in mind, we are taking our leaders, and by virtue of taking the leaders, we're taking their team members through a process where we continually keep them energized. And an example of a way to keep them energized is assembling the entire body of people that are participating into these national Zoom calls. And in these national Zoom calls, what we have is we have subject matter experts, best in the world in what they are talking about. And these best in class experts educate, inspire, and motivate the team, the groups. And because we're using a technology like Zoom, everyone can be participating from wherever they are throughout the world. And because it's not television or old media with one-way communication, we're able to have bi-directional interaction with virtually everyone who's participating, whether it be 200 or 200,000 people in using Zoom call technology. The actions that they're inspired to take include participating in the Action Kit. The Action Kit is a piece of software much like an app, and this app provides the necessary tools and training for all of the members. So after they participate in the national call, they can get resources right into their device from their computer or mobile device. And one of the things that this action kit does is it guides the team captains on how to set up WhatsApp groups. And so these are highly localized small groups, which is essential because people can only maintain effective relationships with a very small number of people. And so these are highly localized WhatsApp groups. And in these groups, the members, as directed by the team captain, leads the members to download social media content, from the app. The group captains, through the WhatsApp group, lead the members to watch short training videos, but these videos are consumed and watched and distributed as what we call a watch party. So rather than watching a video by yourself, which immediately begins to counter effect the momentum that we have worked so hard to build in this entire process, these videos are watched as what we call a watch party. So it is as if you have your whole group at your house or at a theater or in a classroom watching a training video, but instead of doing it in one location, you're all doing it at the same time at different locations. That's what we mean by watch party. So having downloaded some basic social media content like memes, and now having been trained on how to interact with the public with the social media content, these team members now are far more effective in spreading the word than they would have been if they hadn't participated in these short training events. So now we have a group of people that have received some basic training. They have some basic equipment or tools that they can use. And now we, using the training, have those people spread the word to their influencers, to their circles of influence. And because they've been trained with some basic training, the way they spread the word is thoughtful and is appropriate and is a match for what the public are ready to hear. That's an important part. Because we're targeting our early adopters that are undecided, communicating to them has to be done in a particular way so as to not occur as if we are part of the establishment, part of the status quo that's not working. And so with that said, when people begin to spread the word into their circles of influence, they will have people that don't engage, that disagree, that are potential allies, and are engaged. And you may remember seeing the same breakdown here. The only difference is this gray circle is now the second generation. What I mean by that is the first time we talked about people are engaged, not engaged, or disagree, we call that first generation because these people were known to the organization. The second generation is not known to the organization, but they're known to the members of the team. This process of having people engage, go through the same cycle, and repeat causes multiple generations to be created, and the number of people involved with each generation expands exponentially. Going back to the idea of only spending effort with people that are engaged and allies, the allies similarly are fed into this idea of what are they engaged by, they invite into the team, and the engaged folks are also fed into the same process, what are they engaged by, they invite to the team, and this next second generation of people go through the same process and produce the next level in this iteration. Thank you for watching this video.